Hey, good morning. I can say morning. Scott Luton, Greg White with you here on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to the Turkey Day episode, the Monday before Thanksgiving Day. Greg White, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you. I'm very thankful for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I am too. I was thinking over the weekend, I'm not sure if it was a social media exchange or whatnot, but historically challenging year. Nothing's gone right for a whole bunch of people.
Right.
But at least it makes me and my family want to double down and be extra grateful to what has gone right and what we have, and the people in our life that has made it, made things possible. So I think this is going to be a special Thanksgiving.
I think what's really cool, and I have to thank Karin Bursa, who we'll thank in person shortly for this. But our little adventure at the Empty Stocking Fund has my youngest daughter searching for things to do to help people, not just during the holidays, but just in general. And that's her thing. So I'm glad she enjoys it. It's so fulfilling to help people, isn't it? You get out of it far more than you give. So
agreed.
Love it.
Great points. Hey, Larry Klein is already with us. Pierre is with us. Aaron, great to have y'all here. Cigar. Kishore from India is with us, I think first time via LinkedIn, and Josue making it happen out there running.
Don't drive and live stream, Josue.
That's right. Well, no, he runs a business. He runs a business.
He drives too, though. He does.
Does he?
Oh, I guarantee you. Yeah.
Pratik is great to have you back with us. And Kavan, of course. Victor also
from Dublin.
Yeah. So hello to all of y'all. Great to have you here on the latest edition of The Buzz. Every Monday at 12 noon, Greg and I, and usually a slew of other folks, featured guests, join us for to walk through some of the biggest developments across global supply chain. Today, Greg, we are raising the bar. We have two outstanding special guests joining us about halfway through. Karin Bursa and Jamin Alvidrez. I got to practice that. Alvidrez. Two of our favorite people, Karin and Jamin, are going to join us about 12:25, talking how COVID is changing digitization with consumers and where they purchase things.
Yeah,
we're going to be talking about Black Friday. We're going to be talking about, hey, where are all the containers? You name it.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. Hey, quick programming note, Greg, before we dive in. So to our audience, if you enjoyed today's live stream, be sure to check out our podcasts. You can search for them and subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts from. Today, Greg, we published an outstanding episode featuring the Geek Plus team. Bots and Bullwhips is what we entitled it. Great episode. You can check that out and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from.
Mark Messina, I like when you ask Mark Messina a question, because when the answer is no, this is Mark's answer. No.
He tells it like
he does. He tells the truth.
That's right. Hey, we've got a ton of folks tuned in. So before we make
Claudia Freed,
yep,
I saw her in here.
We have Edwin. Hello, Edwin. We have Michael Avra. Mike, appreciate the connection with Scott North. Look forward to connecting with him. Claudia Freed is back. We got to get Claudia back on a live stream. Hope this finds you and your family well. Gary Smith is hello from the Roslyn Bunker Annex. How about that? Gary, great to connect last weekend. So, Greg, Gary is going to make a guest appearance on This Week in Business History. So stay tuned on that.
Oh, awesome.
Looking forward to that. Patrick Kelly, the Produce Industry Podcast.
That's right. Yeah.
Sony is back with us. Greetings from Nigeria. T-Squared, of course. He holds down YouTube for the Supply Chain Now team. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
Edward Murphy, good afternoon. Hello, Edward. Adnan, where'd he go?
Man.
They're moving so quick. My finger cannot keep up with the whole gang here, but great to have everyone here, and looking forward to diving into the headlines. All right, so one quick announcement, Greg. So tomorrow, we've been talking about it for quite some time.
Tomorrow.
Yes, 2020 SAPICS Virtual Conference, Achieving Perfect 2020 Supply Chain Vision, Hashtag not just another webinar. Join us. We are pleased to be sharing some of our key takeaways from 2020, and hashtag trivia is back. We're going to be hosting one of the most competitive trivia games yet, Greg.
It's a rare duo that can provide you with supply chain information and education and then take you through trivia. So we're going to give you some takes on what we've seen in the last year. And we're going to encourage you not to look back at what our takeaways from the previous year were.
That's true.
We've had so many companies, our organizations and media outlets asking us, what is our prediction for 2021? And I'm just like, I'm not ready.
Oh gosh, but y'all join us. It's going to be, I promise you, it's going to be an outstanding session event with our great friends Jenny Froome and the SAPICS team. Want to say hello just to a couple other folks real quick. Professor AA says happy National Aviation History Month. Where does he hail from, Greg?
I think it could be Wichita, Kansas. Go Shocks. Yeah, we are getting a new basketball coach. Our other was a bad boy, mean to some of the players.
Can't have that. Can't have that. And you also can't do a live stream without our dear friend in Canada, hailing from Canada, David.
Our emotional support Canadian. Thank you, David.
Agreed. All right. So what we need to do here is dive right into the headlines. So we've got no shortage of stories, Greg, to talk about today. But I want to lead off. It's Greg White Takeover Day here at the Buzz, which is an exciting thing. But I'm going to get a quick story in before we get started. I love, Greg, I'm a sucker for solid practical use cases of technology, especially blockchain.
Yeah.
Because there's so many debates around blockchain. But this is a good one. So little backdrop, Mongolia, if you don't know your geography, it's a landlocked country in East Asia. You've got Russia to the north and you've got China to the south. It's also one of the largest and most sparsely populated countries in the world.
Yeah.
I think it's the 18th largest country in the world, but not a large population. So, of course, very remote. But that's not stopping Mongolian goat herders from utilizing blockchain. So get this, Greg. This is in a story from Sarah Murray at Financial Times, a great, great article. Y'all got to check this out. So the herders are using a mobile phone app developed by Convergence.tech, which is out of Toronto. And the app leverages blockchain. And what it allows the herders to document and make more money, but document that their goats are not using overgrazed land, which can lead to some adverse climate change stuff that companies don't want to source from. So since it allows the herders to document that their goats are using non-overgrazed land, it allows them to charge more for the cashmere that the goats produce. What a beautiful, simple, automated application of leveraging supply chain technology, even in the most, some of the more remote parts of the world. I think it's a beautiful, simple use case.
So I don't know if you've seen Long Way Round, which Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman did in 2004, but they go through Mongolia, and man, you want to talk about remote. I mean, it's hard to have a perspective for how, not just remote, but how left behind this entire country is. And for them to be utilizing a technology like this is really important and really impressive. And I've seen other applications. They're using it for herding cattle to make sure that they're not promoting erosion by overgrazing, and also fish to make sure that they're ethically caught.
Yes.
So I don't know that it's this particular company, but it's an incredibly valuable technology, and it's as close as something that almost everyone has, which is a phone. So
yes, I love
easily accommodated. Love it.
There's going to be so much more power and change that these technologies are going to drive, especially as folks and organizations and people wrap their heads around, where they can really drive value rather than just be the project of the month. Mm-hmm. So I love this. I love articles like this because it really challenges all of us that don't have excuses of being remote and it's not a good fit. Really to think differently. So great story here. Great writing, Sarah and the Financial Times team. All right. So Greg, let's hit just a couple of comments before Greg White takeover. So Siddharth, Let's see if I can drop this out real quick. So he looks like he is about to launch a supply chain career. So we get this question a lot, Greg, and we want to challenge our community and our audience, the best in the world. They always bring it. Hey, y'all drop some advice and some suggestions to Siddharth in the comments, and certainly connect after today's live stream. We all want to help folks shorten that learning curve when jumping into the supply chain industry.
Yeah.
So great to have you, Siddharth, and we will figure that out. Also, Kishore looks like he's a mechanical engineering student. He wants to do a master's in supply chain management. So how will life be after getting into supply chain management? All right, Greg, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's a quick and simple answer?
Well, it will be neither quick nor simple. That's how your life will be. It will be exceedingly complex and long term and long range. But I got to tell you, it is the career of the future.
Yes, agreed.
Money is flooding into the industry in terms of innovation, in terms of technology, and in terms of additional companies getting into the physical foray and fray of supply chain.
Well put. And Kishore, if you love a good challenge, an evolving challenge, lots of technology, lots of relationships, and really, pulling together to make the consumers happy, kind of a united mission, you are going to love supply chain. All right. It's a lot of good stuff there. Let's dive into the second headline here today, Greg, where we're going to be talking about shipping direct to consumers. Tell us more.
Yeah, so we're going to have a couple stories about retail. Since it's the holiday season, or at least I'm in the holiday mood, we are putting up our Christmas decorations earlier than in White family history. So actually before Thanksgiving. So I'm in the holiday
breaking
mood.
Records.
Yeah, we are. It's a year of change. So from the newsroom, Scott, look, this is a story from Carolyn Jansen at Retail Dive, and she talks about direct to consumer brands and the potential long-term implications for the brands. So, of course, COVID and the seismic societal disruption in response to it were a huge boost to D2C, direct to consumer brands. Those brands, Harry's, Casper, you probably can think of 1,000 of them, where you order the product on their site or their web or their Amazon or Walmart site, and it's shipped direct to you. You don't go to a store. You don't necessarily always go through even another online retailer with these companies. So because consumers limited their physical shopping, and because e-commerce deliveries were delayed and costs increased, and also because the strain has not really subsided in the 8 months since, there's people questioning the viability of direct to consumer. Look, these brands, they struggle to meet consumer expectations for fast and free delivery. And part of the problem is that they're prone to be deprioritized. Remember those days, Scott, deprioritized by Amazon because you're not essential, right? Or because Amazon wanted to ship their product instead. Allegedly.
And that wasn't far. That was what, just, it feels like 6 years ago, but that was probably just 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah. And they're also prone to being shut out by the parcel carriers, right? There's we talk about this all the time. There's rates are going up. Parcel carriers' profits are at an all-time high. Their stocks are exploding, and yet they continue to push the burden to suppliers and to the consumer. So that's an issue, and they can't really count on those parcel carriers. And of course, last mile challenges with the carriers, with alternate carriers, and returns. Returns are a big issue. So one of the things that this article talks about, and I think this is great encouragement for direct to consumer brands, is they need to break free and find some innovative ways to overcome all of these challenges. So here are three things that are talked about in the article, and it's worth a read, by the way. Creating brand expectations and consumer experience that helps consumers feel like the wait is worth it. So if your brand is that powerful and your experience aside from delivery is that strong, then you can get away with a few extra days to deliver. I can think of brands that I would wait a few extra days for, and I'm sure that if you work hard, you can do that.
I know one brand.
What brand is that?
We interviewed them a few weeks ago. Sweetwater. I know you're a big fan of not just of their products, but how they approach customer experience, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I feel like whenever I need advice, I can call Ian Rogels at Sweetwater, who is my assigned customer rep, and ask him what I need. I mean, he did the research to identify. I've hopefully got it coming. Hopefully it's coming as a present. A new condenser mic coming that he said this is the perfect fit for your voice. So we'll see, and you all will be the judge. But in regards to returns, right? Preempting the need for returns if your products are big, or they take a tough delivery or assembly, or if it's a physical fit, not physically fit product, but a product that has to fit when it arrives, give consumers the ability to make sure that it does in fact fit them before they order it. That is really critical, because 30 to 40% of e-com comes back. And then of course there are actually brands taking on in-house delivery themselves. And if not that, then because that's a big fit if you're selling furniture or some sort of assembled product of other type. But if not that type of product, then there are plenty of other carriers out there besides the usual suspects. There are last mile delivery companies. Believe it or not, the Amazon last mile delivery companies are all independently owned local businesses. They are not owned. They are franchised or licensed, whichever it is, by Amazon. So support local and use them. But there's also Bring and various and sundry other last mile delivery companies that can really help you out there. Look, it's worth a read. If you have a small brand, are interested in small brands, or just want to see some new ideas that frankly could help anyone of any size in the supply chain last mile.
So I got to share a couple of these comments real quick, Greg. And let's see here. The first one comes from David. He says, working in supply chain is like the best night of drinking and the hangover from it all at once. There seems to be lots of agreement there.
Yeah.
Now Clay has a serious comment. And Clay is a customer experience expert. He's also my brother, which makes him the best expert. But he says he thinks it's less about waiting, more about setting the right expectations and living up to them. Great point.
It is. I mean, and you can actually create anticipation in the waiting if the product and the experience is that good. People are willing to do it. They actually consider it a badge of honor if the brand experience is right.
Yeah, great point.
To say, I had to wait a couple extra days, but it was worth it not to have X junky product instead, right?
Yeah. Great point. Going back to your last mile, Michael's pointing out a Wall Street Journal article about last mile last week. Huge problem is damages on returns. There's been a lot that the whole return space, talking about being thrown for a loop here in the pandemic environment. We're going to touch more on that in our reverse logistics series coming up. Pratik says, David, let's see here. I'll go back to
David says too.
Yeah. Pratik says, must watch what a company named Takeoff has done to deal with making profits from e-grocery by dealing with last mile delivery. I had recently posted it on one of his LinkedIn posts. So make sure you're connected to Pratik on LinkedIn so you can check out content like that. And then Michael says another issue is if someone orders for the same product, different sizes or colors. We talked about this before. How does a company determine how much of that revenue to realize? Otherwise, revenue will continue to be overstated. Good point there. And one quick shout out. Sylvia says greetings from Charleston, sending out One Nation coffee and homemade cranberry relish for our customers. Love that, Sylvia. I don't want it on my turkey sandwich, but I bet it is delicious. Right, Greg?
No. Sorry, turned into Mark Messina there for a second. I hate cranberry of any kind, frankly. So yeah, but I really appreciate Judy's Sylvia's skills. Sorry, and if anyone can make it edible, she can.
Agreed. She is magical in that in the cooking kitchen and laboratory that she has there.
We believe so, though we've never gotten any actual. And I'm not
challenging.
I'm not shamelessly. Yeah. Like
if you got any extra
here, but we've never gotten any actual products. So
if you got any,
that we can verify that.
Any extra blueberry jam hanging out in the kitchen, Sylvia, on a production line, send it our way. Okay. So Greg, let's dive into this third story. We're having too much fun. Shipping from stores. Is it going to last post pandemic?
So interesting. So this is an article from Jen A. Miller at Retail Dive. Oh, sorry. No, she's Supply Chain Dive. Man, we've hit them all. We've hit all the dives today.
Trifecta.
And she talks about whether ship from store is viable, and with some discussion on things that can make it so. So she talks with Corey Berry, CEO of Best Buy, about their plans to make 250 stores hubs for delivery. All of their stores are equipped to do e-commerce delivery. And if you think back long enough in e-commerce, Best Buy was one of the first and most hard-hit, disrupted retailers back when showrooming, there's a blast from the past. Showrooming was the biggest e-commerce sin. People would go to Best Buy. I know because I've done it, and my wife did it, which is what gave me one of the ideas for how we solved that at Blue Ridge. But you walk in the store and you look at the product on the shelf and you decide whether you're going to buy it in the store or buy it online, and you could actually do both. You know, you go and say, yep, really like the picture of that television, and then you'd go find it somewhere cheaper and buy it online. So they were one of the most early disrupted companies. They reacted very significantly and dramatically and effectively. I think there was a time when Best Buy was having a real struggle with that sort of thing, and they adapted very well. One of the article quotes a number of voices who say, talk about the difficulty of fulfillment from store and whether it's viable, and many believe that it's not. Common opinion, however, and I think that would be common in this group, right, in the whole world, is that e-com is here to stay, and that the blip up that we've seen in e-commerce, while we may not hold on to it all, when people can actually go back to a physical store, the trend has been accelerated for good. Yep. So, my argument on this, and I'll just make this really brief. It's a great and brief article. Look, the experts are not wrong on some of these fronts, but as retail rents plummet, and that logo that you're seeing right there is really important, but as retail rents inevitably plummet, ship from store is for these retailers with stores is right where Amazon wishes they could be, right, to make timely delivery, because they're out in industrial parks and on the edge of cities, and these are in what they call super centers, or oh my gosh, I forgot the name. They're either in traditional malls or in those big strip malls where it's just gigantic stores, right? And Bed Bath & Beyond, I mean, frankly, really, is there any reason to set foot in a Bed Bath & Beyond store? It's not unlike Staples. There's nothing there that you need to see or really physically touch to decide that you might want to buy, or not that much. Right. I mean, they've got a whole section in that store on as seen on TV. And in effect, I think the whole store could be sold as seen on TV. So they're big stores. They're jam-packed with product, overpacked, I would argue. But that does make them, and because they're in these super centers, that does make them a great facility for shipping from store. They're really, they really could be, if they know how to do it in a good way. And one of the things that they talk about in the article is sort of a false structure that was built that we've talked about before, Scott, where retail commerce and e-commerce are two separate entities, which should never have been to begin with, and certainly should not be now. And I think a lot of retailers are coming to that realization. Well,
we've heard forever about SKU rationalization, which is nothing new, but we've heard a lot more about it in 2020. I think we're going to hear a lot about footprint rationalization. Absolutely. If you've got it, you got to use it. And it's got to have a great return in this e-commerce age.
Well,
and
that's what's going to drive retail rents down. I mean, it's already happening in malls, right? Malls are turning into 55 and up.
So let me share a couple of comments.
Housing facilities, right?
Yep. So Danush, we are getting your comments. I apologize. It's a bit off topic. SAP EWM consultant who wants to start working on Industry 4.0. We'd welcome you to join the community and bounce some of the questions off the community here. And stay tuned. We're going to have a career development live stream with some experts in the weeks ahead. So stay tuned for that. So we're not ignoring you. We're just trying to stay.
What is EWM?
I don't know what EWM is. Maybe I'm sure we'll find out that acronym.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Pierre says, we've talked about service merchandise ahead of their time. Agree.
Man, way ahead of their time. But
agree.
Boy, what a great model that is, Pierre. I love that.
And Aaron Freed is with us. Aaron was a former Veteran Voices featured guest not too long ago. Aaron says, omnichannel is bound to increase. The more use you can get from a physical location, the higher the return on investment. If a physical store doubles as a distribution center, that is cost savings. And then one final point.
Yeah, go ahead.
One final point here from Mike Aver. McKinsey & Company released a pandemic study back in March where they predicted online retail to continue because a lot of the older population who have not adopted online ordering has been forced into the space, and they now see the convenience shifting their buying habits moving forward. Completely agree. We've seen that with friends and family.
That's really interesting because I believe one of the people they quote saying it's not feasible is from McKinsey.
Really? Oh, lots of opinions.
It just depends on who you talk to. I'm sorry, Carney, A.T. Carney. Sorry. Oh. Okay, same difference.
Yes, same difference. All right. So
another one of those firms that tells you how to do it, but not helps you do it.
Yes, no shortage of opinions on all things retail in this e-commerce age, and the intersection of e-commerce growth and the pandemic is fascinating. So let's hit on this final story.
Well, let me wrap that up just a little bit because to the point that Aaron made, omni-channel, multi-channel, whatever. Look, I have been saying for years, and I think its time has come. There is no retail commerce. There is no e-commerce. There is no omni or multi-channel. It's just commerce, right? I think the time has come for us just to call it commerce or just to call it retail. There's no need to discern anymore, right? It is, especially as this article talks about, if it all happens from the store or all happens for the consumer, considering how the consumer wants to shop, it's just commerce, right? Won't that be a great day, Aaron, when we don't have all these terms that we have to wade through?
Agreed. All right.
Now let's talk about this.
Now let's talk about drivers. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, first of all, I would have joined the Marines if I got to drive something that looked like that for the rest of my career. That is cool looking. Look, so Jim Stinson in Transport Dive, again, another deep dive.
The trifecta. Yeah,
he shares a story about how to tackle the driver shortage, right? The industry expects the driver shortage to increase. We're attacking it a number of different ways, and firms have expressed interest in recruiting drivers with experience in the armed forces. In fact, the story, it really starts as a story. I'm not sure that Jim is not also writing a memoir or a novel or something, because the way that this starts, it is more story than article, which is was engaging. He talks about Rick Miller and his journey as a Marine veteran in the industry. And Miller says it's a natural fit. You get to see the United States and explore it. Now think about this as a fit. And they go through all this in the article, which is very brief, but definitely worth the read. Fleets, of course, see the driver shortage growing in coming years, and they're attacking it multiple ways, not exclusive of autonomous vehicles. Carriers like XPO in 2021 expect to hire 6% of their new drivers from the pool of vets. And one of the things they talk about in this article, which is just brilliant, on the road or on a mission, there's similar dynamics. I mean, think about it. It requires discipline, improvisation, adaptation, and the ability to overcome obstacles. They are getting, also these carriers are getting on base prior to military personnel exiting or becoming veterans while they're still on active duty. So if you're an active duty military or a vet, listen up, because if you think about it, driving is a brother or sisterhood, and it's an exclusive batch of folks doing something vital for the nation. So what could be more natural than that? And as I was reading through the article, it really hit me that the similarities. I mean, not at all the same level of danger or risk, but there are a lot of those dynamics, right? If you've ever stopped at a truck stop, that's attached to a Dunkin' Donuts or something to grab a handful of tasty snacks on the road, you can watch it happen. I mean, you can literally see it happen. So,
well, I'll tell you another great place is YouTube's got no shortage of channels where truck drivers are documenting their journey, and it's fascinating to see what they have to put up with, what they have to navigate, and to make it happen, to make that mission happen. So, really appreciate that whole community of our truck driving population. But yeah, if you're a military member and certainly a veteran, there's opportunities that abound. And really quick, before we bring in our two featured guests, speaking of veterans, Troy Boozer and I served in the Air Force together. Troy is salt of the earth people. I connected with him over the weekend. He's going to be joining us for a Veteran Voices episode in December. And I'm telling you, people like Troy not only get stuff done, but they help others get stuff done, and special individuals. So Troy, great to have you here for a moment, and look forward to December. Okay. So Greg, no shortage of things to talk about, but we've got some really cool stories to talk with Karin Bursa, who hosts our Tech Talk Digital Supply Chain podcast, and Jamin Alvidrez, host of our Logistics and Beyond. You ready to bring them in?
Let's swoosh.
Let's do it. Hey, good afternoon, Jamin, Karin. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. It's always good to get swooshed in.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
It's the small things in life. It's the small things in life.
I never cease to be amazed by it.
I was replacing some kitchen light bulbs over the weekend, and it took me 3 hours. I need to get my 11-year-old to help me out. But once they finally worked and clicked, and we knew that it wasn't the socket that was bad, small things in life we appreciate. All right. So on that note, Greg, that was some of where we spent. That was some of where I spent my weekend, is some home improvement projects. Before we dive into all the great things that's taking place in industry, Karin, give me one highlight from your weekend.
Well, I'm surprised we didn't see it at the Home Depot this weekend, because ours was all about some home improvement projects. But the big win is we got the projects done, and we didn't add anything to the list of additional projects on the in the process. So that's a big win.
That is a big win.
That is a win. Great.
Not an easy thing to do.
And y'all didn't spend any time on the river. I think I saw some kayaking or canoeing a week or two ago. So
yes,
we have
kayaking. Yes. Not last week. Not just the weekend past. We did not. But yeah, if I want to see my husband on the weekends lately, I've got to be on the water with him. So
love it,
man. You need a thermal kayak.
I know.
Right now.
Well, great to have you back. Really enjoyed your most recent episode, which we'll touch on maybe after we get through these news developments. Okay, Jamin, great to have you back. You're on West Coast time, so you're up early to Adam this week. Give me one highlight from your weekend.
Yes, it's great to be here. I'm actually going to share 3 quick hitters. USC Trojans won, the Kansas City Chiefs won, and the third, and this is really the ultimate highlight. My son, who's 8, is always super hyper, and he likes sports and activity and all that, but has not really been into playing catch because he just kind of gets bored or distracted. Well, this weekend he asked me to play catch with him, and he was really into it. So
wow,
that was a huge highlight, because I'm convinced there's nothing better for relationships than just good old game of catch.
Love that.
It's true. That is so true. And it looks like your arm has not fallen off, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well,
the
again,
danger is all to you in that case.
That is very true.
the theme, again, simple things in life, especially in challenging times like this. All right. So, Greg, we are going to dive. So, it sounds like both of y'all had a wonderful weekend, by the way. And thanks for spending some of your Monday morning with us. Greg, we're going to dive right in. And where are we starting?
That's a great question, Scott, because so I thought you were going to ask me about my weekend.
Well, so let's do that. So let's just go with it. So, Greg,
We
roll
roll
the-
the professional this one.
that's right. We roll with the punches here at Supply Chain Now. So, Greg, give me one highlight from your weekend.
My morning walk on Saturday was a highlight. Got up early, got to see a sunset. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see it. I reported it maybe a day or two late, but I have to do that because otherwise people, crowd around if they know exactly where I am at the moment. But it was great. I mean, it was foggy. It was cool. I took my big dog for a walk, not the little dog or Shenanigans, the cat. Scott loves to throw mosquitoes.
If you can walk cats, you got some
but I took
powers that we all.
I can walk. I took my big tough cat, my big tough dog, and we saw deer. I mean, it was amazing. We were the first people at the park, and we were there for a while. So that was great.
Love that. It's always nice to unplug. So, and I enjoyed the videos and some other images, sunrises that you've been sharing. So it's nice, breath of fresh air. All right. So speaking of staying plugged in, great segue, unplanned there, Greg. The COVID-19 crisis, digitizing these consumer relationships. So, Karin, tell us more.
Yeah, so this comes to us from McKinsey and Company that has done some great research in the area of digitization of business and also in consumer behavior, especially around COVID-19. But this is super interesting because in a 7-month period, so 7 months, Greg, you're going to appreciate this. In just 7 months, we have seen the adoption of digital business for customer interactions as well as operations supporting those by as much as a 58% increase. If you look at those numbers there for North America, going from 41% to 65%, that's amazing.
Wow.
That is absolutely amazing. So in 7 months, these businesses have achieved what historically would have taken them 3 to 4, and perhaps for some 7 years in transition. So you talk about accelerating and embracing digital transformation. These are some pretty interesting numbers.
It's about time too, don't you think, Karin? I mean,
I do. But you can see, so, we had a couple of very flat years, and then 2019 showed some growth that I'm sure most businesses were really happy about, but not nearly the kind of growth that we're seeing here in 2020 and in such a compressed period of time. I think we've really hit a tipping point.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's been numerous early adopters, and I bet they're really, I think of QuickBooks and I think of B&H audio video, folks that really have figured out that how to digitize successfully what the consumers are looking for, especially in both of those examples and others, is when you're looking to get help with products or you on the FAQ page, there's not what you're looking for there. And you can just pop up a quick and easy chat, with a real individual that really help navigate you through your problems rather than sitting on hold for 15 minutes to get someone that will transfer you to someone that will transfer you to someone. I mean, there's some early adopters that are really getting it done right, Karin.
Yeah, I agree completely. And we're seeing the consumer, or even in the business to business environments, we're more comfortable interacting that way. So, there's two sides of that relationship. So I think we're feeling served efficiently. We're getting the information we need as being on the consuming base or the customer side of that equation. And then from a business perspective, able to get a good, consistent experience out for the customers and suppliers is very important as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Jamin, Greg, any quick comment before we keep driving here?
I love the point about a consistent experience. I think that's often what's missing and can be so vital. So I think that'll be a huge positive.
Great point, Jamin. You know, if you know, it's like I'll lead, Chick-fil-A. Raise your hand if you never have consistent experiences, regardless of where you go. I mean, that's such a power card to play for that company. So I completely echo your point there, Jamin. Greg, your last comment before we hit Karin's second story.
Yeah, well, I think as Karin said, I think it's as encouraging that consumers are adopting as much as the companies, right? I think it's an important aspect of retail as we go forward, like we were talking about just before. Whether you're concerned about the ease, the comfort, the customer experience, climate change, whatever it is, man, if you can buy from Bed Bath and Beyond or whomever, Staples, whomever, without leaving the house, I mean, you should. Right?
Agreed. Let's say hello to a few folks before we hit the next story here. Mervin, missed the notification, but hey, you're here, and that's all that matters. Mervin, great to have you. Hope this finds you well. Dr. Vias has joined us a couple of times. Greetings from Bangalore, India. Great to have you. And Pierre, going back to the topic, much like the self-checkout mentality, people interacting directly with the transaction without the human variable. Great point, Pierre.
Yeah, that's it was interesting. That was kind of a thought I had, as you said, the chat thing. I avoid that chat at all costs. I would rather have the information in the technology, but so many companies enable both, and that's critical because I mean, all consumers are different. So
I must be the lazy version. I want it spoon fed to me sometimes, or slow. Maybe I'm just that slow. We'll see.
Yeah,
great.
We're all lazy in our own way, Scott, because I would buy the wrong thing and just send it back if they gave me free returns. Right.
Yeah,
I think a lot of consumers do that.
Agreed. And I think just that little, tongue in cheek response there back and forth, while there's some great generalities when it comes to consumers in the commerce space, I didn't put an E on that just for you, Greg, but also there's some differences. There's some differences in how we do want certain information and what products and those relationships. So excellent article there, Karin.
Yeah.
Let's speaking of digitization, let's talk about Black Friday and some of the trends there. Karin, what are you seeing?
Absolutely. You guys have been dancing around this for a good 20 minutes, but this says our life has changed. And in fact, again, McKinsey and company did this research, and the headline is about that online shopping experience. So earlier this morning, I heard once again the CDC is recommending that we not be in crowded shopping centers, shopping plazas, et cetera, and that we take advantage of other methods. So I would say that this particular research here, which represents North America, so about a third of the respondents are from North America, about a third are from China, and then the other third is European. So it's a very interesting mix with 3,600 respondents that we see a pretty consistent move to getting more and more comfortable online. So Greg, you were talking about that just a minute ago with people who have not shopped online are getting used to it or getting used to curbside pickup. If you look at Target's numbers last week, super impressive. And they've done a really good job with that curbside pickup process as well. So it looks like people are going to be shopping. It looks like Black Friday incentives or Black Friday week or Black Friday month, all depends on which retailer you're accessing.
Yeah, right.
2020 of Black Friday. But what's interesting is that only 2% of the respondents, that's 2%, said that they would not participate in these online promotions through the holidays. So only 2% of that 3,600. You got it. Yeah.
I'd rather pay more wonder what the logic is there. That's interesting.
I don't know, but it does show balance, at least in the, in the survey base, right? Yes, not everybody was 100% behind it, but it's super interesting to see the growth, to see the continued participation in different promotions, and we'll assume that those promotions are going to stimulate purchases as they're designed to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, going back to one of y'all mentioned Target, and they have gotten so much great press. I got to admit, I don't shop there very often, but it seems like, from a variety of sources, they're one of the companies that has really gotten their pandemic e-commerce strategy, store operation strategy right and executed well. Is that the general consensus here?
Well, I should hope so, because they've spent 10 times as much as anyone else on the effort.
Yeah.
So yes, I think so.
From the point of a customer who I'm always having to run there for something, they have made it just so simple with how they've set up, not just curbside, but they'll have the way the stalls are set up. They're very responsive and quick in bringing the items to your vehicle. So I've found that experience to be not just a good experience with what we're facing in the added safety, but just going forward, I think that's a bell they're not going to unring, because it's way too convenient.
I like that phrase. I'm gonna steal it. That's a bell you can't unring. That's
you can't unring. I like it.
Perfect visual. All right, so Karin, your quick take on Target.
So yeah, absolutely. I think that we've been watching Target for the last couple of years as they've looked at really changing the omni-channel experience, if you will, or adding new services to differentiate themselves in the market. I think they did a great job of the curbside pickup, the buy online, pick up at store, fairly early in this process. They've been able to leverage it. And as Greg mentioned, they've been investing. So they've been kind of a benchmark for other retailers to look at to see what's working and what maybe they should prioritize from a rollout perspective.
Yep. Well said. One final thought here on retail experiences before we move over into containers and get a couple comments from the audience. I was in the store over the weekend picking up these light bulbs, and it's amazing. All of these gains, digital customer experience wise, but a lot of the in-store shopping, especially questions about products, so much has not changed, and it makes you want to stay home and just get the right product shipped out to you. But I digress. All right,
I think that's an excellent point, Scott.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to round out that experience.
Yeah, and Greg, I was at Costco late on Sunday, and guess what they were out of?
Toilet paper.
And paper towels all over again. I mean, not a single offering in the store, which shocked me to see all over again that we're still having a problem, as people get anxious with the increasing number of COVID cases again. That stockpiling is underway, but the supply chain still is not as responsive as it needs to be in those areas.
Yeah, the one near us was out on Friday afternoon. So we did Friday date night at our favorite place,
Costco.
Because where we live, it's up on top of this huge hill. It overlooks an airport. You can watch planes land and the sun set.
That's pretty cool.
There's nothing like a slice of horrible Costco pizza and watching the sunset. Yeah,
love that. You got me a pizza.
What they were telling customers was they were out as soon, and even Costco has a strict policy, one per membership, not even per customer. Right? You can't take 2 carts and try to trick them. So they were out immediately upon receiving it that morning, Friday morning.
Gosh. So. All right. So much good stuff to talk about there, or challenging stuff. We want to say hello to a few folks, get a couple comments. Lisa Fenton, excellent thought leader, supply chain thought leader. Check her out on social media. Says hello from California, out in your neck of the woods there, Jamin.
That's Canada.
Yeah, Lisa's fantastic. A great follow. Always positive. Very, very helpful.
My apologies. How'd y'all know that's Canada versus?
I'll tell you why. This is how obsessive compulsive I am. I can tell that what she did was put a flag in her post. LinkedIn hates those flags from the emojis, and it changes them to that in a little bit smaller font.
Look, folks. Greg White does not miss a single thing. That is a perfect illustration. He doesn't miss anything.
I'll tell you what. I don't miss Lisa's reports of what she's doing and where she is, and her pictures of her mornings. So I'm a lot less jealous this time of year than I am in the summertime.
Cold weather. Well, regardless, great to have you, Lisa. Samson is tuned in from Nigeria. Great to have you, Samson. David is talking about the consumer experience. Hey, he just wants accuracy. Hey, I hear you loud and clear there for sure. Mervin says Tesco has both of those, but the self-checkout leads to queuing too. Gary Smith says, while Chick-fil-A is here on Long Island, it's just not the same as in the South.
My pleasure. It doesn't sound the same, the Long Island accent, right?
I can hear Amanda laughing at that, Greg. So you hit the mark there. John Buglino says, hey, the shopping has already begun, at least in his household. I'm with you.
Nice.
Let's see. Clay says many leading retailers are focused on leveraging the mobile digital channel in store to close that gap. Lowe's is a great example. Clay, that is an excellent point.
Yeah,
and maybe next go round, I'm gonna have to check out the Blue store.
So if we got your brother on here to talk about customer experience, could you two play nice, or would you be like, Mom, he's touching me?
So I know it. I only know it as a consumer. Clay knows it, knows the discipline and knows it from the knowledge side. So, but regardless, that's a great conversation idea. We'll have to act on that.
I can sit in the front seat and go, hey, don't make me stop this car. Don't make me stop this live stream.
I loved it. Love that, man. All right. So as much as I hate to do it, let's move to the next story here. So Jamin, our resident transportation logistics expert, host of Logistics and Beyond. Gosh, there's so much going on. And one of the burning questions is, where's all the containers? So tell us more, Jamin.
Yes, if I was a little more savvy with technology, I would have had some version of a "Dude, where's my car?" slide. Dude, where's my container? And the short answer is probably hanging out on the water off the coast.
Really?
So we know a lot of the reasons for disruption in the supply chain that we've all discussed, and what we're seeing in the container market is a few things. Related to the pandemic, a shortened peak season with some of the delays and then rush orders. And, the port of Long Beach in Los Angeles, which is a good barometer for all the stateside ports, they in October had their busiest month in their 114-year history.
Oh, wow.
And November is not let up. And in fact, last week I went out there a couple times to check it out for myself there in Long Beach and Los Angeles. And you look out at the water and you see get ready for this word. I recently learned it, so I'm excited to use it. A flotilla of ships out there, and I counted about 12 of them. And if you're thinking there's about 20,000 plus cans on each ship, we're talking about just casually, just off one of our ports, over 250,000 plus containers just hanging out there, floating, waiting to come in. So it is packed at the ports, and they're stacked to their max, which is a 6 high, at least here in Southern California. With fire code. So I imagine other ports, we're always very conservative, probably can go higher, but
we're not worried about fires in Savannah, apparently, because they're stacked higher than that.
Yeah. And so we're bursting at the seams, and the short answer of when there's relief, when will that be? There's a few things going into play. I always get it wrong. The FMC, the Federal Maritime Commission, they have started an investigation to really analyze how the ports are handling containers and turning them around. Because aside from just sheer delays and the cost and troubles that go along with that, is the cost of demurrage and other accessorials. And so it's really putting a hurting on everyone alike. And so they're looking into that, and we'll be enforcing some practices to make sure that we're either operating as efficiently as we can or making some changes. Because right now, on average, for every 3.5 containers that's coming in, we're only sending 1 back. So we're really creating, I'm not wildly good at math, but that's going to put a kink in the access of containers. And from everything I'm hearing, and as you can see down the line, not to really expect anything to change at least before Chinese New Year. We're through Chinese New Year, which will be in 2021, about mid-February. best case. So that's
Wow.
what we're seeing. So buckle up and be, talking to some of the truckers that pick up at the ports and things. They're getting paid to do the same job, but it just got harder because everything just by nature of sheer being crowded, it's tighter, it's busier. And so just like this time of year, showing empathy to your mailman, your FedEx, your UPS man or woman. Same with our drivers. It is tough going in and out of the ports right now. A lot of delays and traffic.
Excellent point. That's one I wish I had, one of those buzzers like they've got on the ESPN game shows. As folks make great points, I can add points. That I would give you 100 points for that, Jamin, because as we've learned, those are essential members of the countries and the global workforce, right? They protect the psyche. They allow us to quarantine, or they allow us to get stuff we need while not going to the stores if you don't want to, or going to the stores and have what you need there on the shelves. So really appreciate that point. So I want to share, Greg and Karin, before we get you to respond, I want to share a couple of these comments. Claudia says, a flotilla and a bell you cannot unring. Mr. Jamin is on fire. I agree. Michael says, Wall Street Journal quotes, average wait of 4.78 days for containers to be handled, highest since 2016. And by the way, Greg, to the team here, Supply Chain Now is reporting live from the scene. By the way, we got a reporter at the docks. We got to get you painted that picture of all those ships waiting to get handled. We got to get some imagery of that for Supply Chain Pal. More to come there.
I'm on it.
Can you still get out of the house in California, Jamin? I mean, unless you've got something to do with the governor, I'm not sure that.
Yeah, unless the governor invites me to go out for a nice dinner or a casual trip to Hawaii.
Well, that would be neat shots to get. Sylvia says, hey, it's time for all water service from Asia to come to Charleston. And she's got hashtag Charleston strong, no backlogs. Michael says ports are sending empties back because demand is so high in China that they don't have time for containers to go inland to fill with U.S. exports. So they send them back empty back across the ocean. Wow. All right. So
is the shortage only here in the States, Jamin, or is it in the supply chain in total, or what?
No, the supply chain in total, it's causing kinks around the world. And in fact, that's part of what the Chinese government's really gotten involved and stepped up to, and trying to both essentially keeping people from just using cans in just profitable lanes or that are quicker turnarounds, and rather sticking to some guidelines and so that we can get essential things and keep business flowing, and not just trying to cherry pick, as it were, the lanes they're shipping in. But it's a global situation that's starting to come to the fore.
Wow. And David echoes that. It is in the supply chain in general. All right. So looking forward to keeping our finger on the pulse of that developing story. Gosh, that's a bunch of sand in the gears for sure, especially this time of year. Really enjoyed having you both on, kind of presenting, some different stories from different angles, and of course, getting your POV as part of that. Greg, it adds a great spin on the buzz, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're much more professional than I am. So I really like it. I really like hearing from our team, right? This is fantastic.
Agreed. All right. On that note, we're going to be hearing a lot more from Karin and Jamin. Karin, let's as we wrap this segment up, let's hear what's going on with Tech Talk Digital Supply Chain. What should we be looking for? Yeah.
First of all, if you haven't heard the podcast that we did with Laura Ciceri, a real supply chain industry trailblazer, you've got to listen to it. I guarantee you're either going to identify with some of the challenges that she overcame, or you're going to be inspired by them, one or the other. So take a listen to what one of the industry's trailblazers shared with us recently. And then we've got lots of other good topics coming up as well. Some more information on the COVID-19 response and a little innovation that's happened, led by supply chain. So look forward to sharing a couple of those stories, as well as some insider tips around sales and operations planning. So lots of good topics on the horizon, and looking forward to sharing that with our team here and all of our community.
Outstanding. That interview with Laura was outstanding. It was I listened to it over the weekend. So much good stuff there that will inspire anybody. So great show.
Karin asked Laura questions that nobody had ever asked her before.
I know.
Right?
I know.
I mean,
crazy.
Why did we not know these things? Because nobody's ever asked before. So great job there.
The origin story on supply chain superheroes. Excellent, Karin. And looks like we're dropping the link to that episode in the notes. So keep it coming.
Fantastic.
From Tech Talk. All right, Jamin, you certainly have been juggling all kinds of stuff, and the content keeps coming from logistics and beyond. What's next?
The next episode, we have Mike Nemi, who shares his perspective on logistics and the third-party logistics world. Truly one of the most passionate people around sales. It's even more than just logistics and transportation, truly about sales. And he is an absolute practitioner of the cold call and crushes it. He's very successful. And so it's great to get into his mind and see not just the X's and O's of how he does it, but what his thinking is and how he stays refreshed and fired up all the time to go out and find those that he can partner up with and then best serve them. So I found it to be very fascinating.
Outstanding. Good stuff there. Looking forward to that. That probably will be published next Monday or Tuesday, and we should get that confirmation soon after Turkey on Thursday. But a lot of good stuff from Jamin and from Karin on their respective series. Again, Tech Talk, Digital Supply Chain Podcast, and Logistics and Beyond. You can find that easily if you go to supplychainnow.com and go to the programs page, all in one place there, and you can subscribe and check out past episodes. All right, Greg, before we have Karin and Jamin depart and get back to their content factories where they run a tight ship, any final comment from you?
Well, you know what this really brings to the forefront of my mind is that these are trained supply chain professionals, right? These are not talking heads. This is not theoretical for Karin or for Jamin. They are living the supply chain life right now. And I think that is so valuable to get those kind of perspectives, right? I mean, these are no former meteorologists. Not that there's anything wrong with meteorologists, but we aren't talking about the weather. So I think it's important that these are practitioners with gifts, and with the gifts that they have to draw excellent information out of people who are in the industry doing it too. That's just so powerful to me, and it just struck me just this instant. Like, we don't talk 4 times a week, gang, but I don't get to see you in this environment that much. So I'm really, happy to have you with us. Happy for this to be yet another offering for our community, and I'm proud of it, frankly.
Yeah, I am too. Good stuff. All right, so all the best. Thanks so much for joining us, Karin Bursa, Jamin Alvidrez. Y'all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you really soon.
Hey, take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You just never know if that swoosh is going to be just right in time or not. But Clay doesn't miss a beat. Clay and Amanda, of course, are behind the scenes today, making sure we answer questions and get links out. Really appreciate all that they do. Full show, and we couldn't dive as deep into some of those stories that we wanted to, could we, Greg?
But I think we got through a lot. That was a lot of stories, and we've gone way over before, right? And not gone through that much. It was great to get Karin and Jamin's perspective today.
Agreed.
And the audience both appreciates it and really appreciates how powerful that is. So
Sylvia says she's going to be on board the Hapag-Lloyd vessel Yantian Express in Savannah, Georgia on December 4th. Zero empty equipment. Vessel is at 100% full capacity from Asia. All right. Good news, I think.
Hey, Sylvia, tell us how high they stack them.
She will.
Yeah. Oh.
Kim Winter is with us, the legendary Kim Winter, and great to have you here with us, Kim. I know it's what, Greg? It's
9 p.m. in
9 p.m.
Dubai. Yeah. So
hope this finds you well, Kim. All right. So, Greg, I've got one more thing I want to share with the audience here before we sign off, and that is this neat quote I came across. So, on This Week in Business History, we tackled the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, kind of the genesis, and also we kind of touched a little bit about where Macy's is as a business and some of the choices they have to make moving forward. Also learned what Ragamuffin Day was, and you have to listen to the podcast. That was a big deal back in the late 19th century to early 20th century. But nevertheless, so a lot of companies like Macy's and their leadership teams, this quote really comes in play, and it's from Amelia Earhart. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. And it really, folks, it's time to act. It's past time to act. With the Geek Plus folks that we publish here today, you made a great point. Hey, when it comes to automation and robotics, it's long past time to act, right? But companies still, and I'm not pointing at Macy's here, but companies still in many ways are kind of hedging their bets, trying to figure out if they're going to act or if they're not going to act, and they're kind of floating. Greg, do you see a little bit of that too?
Do you really want to ask my opinion?
Yes, I do. Give it to us. The final hot take before we call it a show.
Yeah, I think Macy's time has passed, frankly, and they are in their the last throes of their days. In fact, it's interesting timing because it seems like I just saw an article last night or today about they need to go deeper in terms of finding funding to yet again. So they do have some decisions to make. You know what I really like, and at the same time, I'm really perplexed by that Amelia Earhart quote, because the decision to act, tenacity is staying with something, right? I wonder, it makes me wonder, I love words. It makes me wonder if they didn't used to use tenacity differently.
Interesting.
Back when Amelia Earhart was talking about it, because she almost makes it seem like tenacity is not a good thing.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Don't pick on Amelia.
I'm not at all.
Because is she from Wichita? Isn't Amelia from Kansas? Or she's from Kansas at least, right?
It's embarrassing to say that I don't know that.
Well, that's a great.
Where she is, in case anyone's wondering, just ask me.
Well, let's say we had a couple of folks join us here late, and actually Malcolm just got to us, aka Clay Phillips. Atchison, Kansas is where
Atchison
she is from. Yeah. Let's see here.
By the way, in the ATSF, Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railroad.
Nice. Dr. Bunpenza Zimmerman is back with us. First name Rhonda. Great to have you. Looks like we've got a little issue with getting some of the notifications out to our community, but great to have you here. And let's see here. Pat says, apart from the logistics delay, it's even noticeable the increases in logistics costs up to 30% that I can face and see current time. Also a big challenge for every industry now, I guess, in terms of the overall logistics costs. Good point there, Pat.
The final mile, right? I mean, as the big parcel carriers line their pockets at the expense of consumers and retailers.
Yep. All right. So what a great episode, chock full of content and hot takes, and also a little bit of levity. That's important every day of the week, but certainly on Mondays. Hopefully y'all enjoyed Jamin and Karin stopping by and sharing some of what's on their mind, as well as some things they're working on with their podcast series. I know I did. Greg, if folks are looking for more information, more content, more resources, information on navigating through these challenging times, of course, especially from a supply chain standpoint, check us out at supplychainnow.com, where we serve the voice of supply chain and make sure a lot of these voices are heard. But Greg, one final comment from you before we sign off today. What was the one thing, whether it's from one of the stories or from some of the exchanges or something maybe from the comments, what's one thing that stands out from the buzz here today?
Yeah, to me, and maybe it's just because I'm in the spirit, it's thankfulness. I'm thankful for these people that join us every week and all the time, it seems. Thankful for the team that we have at Supply Chain Now. I'm thankful that we are able to be the voice of supply chain and that we're able to get the word out on so many broad topics, right? We don't just talk about transportation or just tech or just human capital or whatever. We talk about it all. And I think I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to do that, to impart and gain knowledge from the industry. That's the overwhelming feeling that I have today, frankly.
Yep. I'm gonna double down on that as we end. It's all about gratitude and the team, the community, how engaged, and what we hear, what we learn from our community, the folks that show up in the live streams all the time. That's the most rewarding part about this journey, and as well as being able to, spotlight in our own way some of the stories, some of the challenges, some of the people that are in the trenches. That's our mission, and our community, helps us carry that out each and every day. So big thanks on behalf of our entire team here at Supply Chain Now. We really want to wish each of you, wherever you are, whether if you celebrate Thanksgiving or if you don't, I hope you have a wonderful week. And for those that do gather or huddle down or wherever you are this Thursday, I hope y'all have a wonderful meal. You can unplug a bit, hopefully reconnect with the family. We've got a list from our kids, since we don't think we'll be going anywhere, a list of things that they'd like to get done. And Greg, we got to bring these 3 kids into our planning sessions. They really were on it.
Really?
Yeah. Drives in the country, car tours of Atlanta, this, that, and the other. So, but kidding aside, hopefully, on behalf of our entire team, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're grateful for each of you that participates with us and brings all of your knowledge and experiences to the table. And Greg, we'd be remiss if we didn't, of course, issue the challenge. Hey, do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. And on that note, we'll see you next time here on Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.